Oh, hello.
Yeah. Hi, Internet. Welcome on in. Let's just jump right into it,
Okay.
right?
No one turned out the light out here like I wanted them to.
Oh, well, that's too
Hey,
bad.
Izzy, turn out this light, please.
Well, there you go.
What?
Such impudence.
I know. Yeah.
Not yet, but like when I go to bed, because I need to flash.
We're broadcasting.
I know.
Okay. Love you.
Okay.
You do it, but not yet.
Please.
Please.
There we go. Now you're in the dark.
Please.
Hello and welcome to episode number 916 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. I am your host, Chris Johnston, and joining me all the way from Canada is Father of the Year, Mr. Greg Seward.
Yellow.
How's it going there, sir?
Just trying to get my kids to bed. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day.
My oldest turns 17 tomorrow.
Damn, time does fly, doesn't it?
And she was born after we started the podcast.
I know.
I don't remember if I missed an. I think I called in from the hospital once. Not for the whole episode, but at the end of the episode.
You might have. Yeah.
I think that was when you
right.
bought the screaming lady sound effect.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers that sound effect. It's a classic. Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, it's just you and me today. We don't have Phil with us.
We finally got rid of Phil. Finally
He's
kicked him to the curb.
taking the week off.
No, he took the weekend off.
Yeah. But you know who else took the week off? All the video game companies who had
It's Father's Day week.
blown through all their announcements last week, and now we got nothing.
Blew their wads last week.
No news. Yeah, exactly. But hey, there was that Ubisoft thing on Monday. I didn't watch it. Did you?
No. Listen, this would have been the time back when we had E3 that people would have been sifting through all the lesser announcements.
Yeah.
From last week, and what did people discover in Kensha Hall?
Yeah. That didn't happen though. No.
Yeah.
Instead, everything is just in one big thing,
load.
And then you forget about all the small games that were announced at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why now if I see a smaller game in one of these presentations, I write it down or add it to Sequel, the app I use to track release dates and everything, and just kind of leave it in there to see, when it gets announced, a release date gets announced or whatever, and then I know that something that at one time I was interested in from a showcase is about to launch, and then I'll know that. Yeah.
The other, I've been thinking of that a lot though, because I mean, discoverability is better in general in so many different ways, where we have like storefronts on the various consoles and on Steam, and where we have wish listing and like you're saying, apps like Sequel and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was sort of this element of E3 that was always, a lot of things were great about E3. There was that element that I really miss, where it's like, what's sort of tucked away in a corner somewhere because the company didn't have enough money to show it off, or because, maybe necessarily the bigger company didn't have a ton of faith in said thing. So it was on one screen in their mega booth, that sort of thing.
Are you talking specifically about Eco?
Yeah, or I would say, I believe The Sims started that way too. I don't think The Sims had a big presence the first time it was at E3. I think it was but I'm also thinking of like Guitar Hero. I remember Guitar Hero was a Kensha Hall discovery as far as I remember.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
So, you don't get that stuff. Now, I mean, I think you get a little bit more through the year, and it's easier to keep track of those things, like you said, when you do discover them.
Mm-hmm.
But that was kind of one of the fun things about E3. That, and the other thing that I was thinking about I don't know what triggered this, but because I don't buy physical games anymore. But man, there were a few years there where it was like, all right, every little thing I'm remotely interested in is going to get like heavily discounted. I think it was a Best Buy for the longest time, and you'd have like these years long pre-orders from Best Buy. Because they used to have that thing going where it was some really big discount that you would get on something that was announced during E3 each year, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was a lot.
Yeah,
like a big percentage anyway. I remember just having this long, and then like things coming out and you getting it in the mail because, or at least for me, you completely forgotten that you pre-ordered it 3 years ago.
That's you still have Metroid Prime 4 ordered from Best Buy.
I probably do,
right?
Yeah.
So expect that showing up at some point. In the future, maybe. Yeah. Kensha Hall, by the way, we should talk about this for our younger listeners who don't know. That was a smaller, sort of off the beaten path area of the LA Convention Center where you'd get a lot of smaller vendors, and usually some international developers as well would have booths there. And it was away from your Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony booths.
Yeah, it was like you weren't in the big glitzy halls where the big $1 million booths were and all the light shows and the booth babes and all that sort of thing and the loud music, and it was more like a swap meet. It wasn't that bad, but it was, it was very low budget in that hall. And that's also where you'd find a lot of hardware and controllers and things.
I just realized I didn't update the episode number, so it's fixed now.
Man, this is embarrassing.
Yeah. But hey, a lot of games coming out of Summer Games Fest to be excited about. I'm excited about the rest of the year. There's a lot of good stuff coming. And Astrobot. Of course. But anyway, I guess we got some small, tiny bits of news. And the rumor is that we're going to have a Nintendo Direct here pretty soon. And Nintendo themselves did say there was going to be a Nintendo Direct in June. And we only have about 2 more weeks of June. So it's going to happen pretty soon here. So fingers crossed that we'll get some good announcements there.
Switch 2?
They have specifically said there will be no Switch 2 announcements at the June Direct. So,
you know where they would talk about that normally?
Where?
In the meeting rooms at the back of their booth at E3.
That's right. Yeah, you'd have to sneak in. You'd have to be part of the press. You'd have to be embargoed.
Yep.
For that. Yeah. But hey, we got some little tidbits of news here that we can talk about. We were talking about Ubisoft a little bit. I didn't watch their presentation, but Star Wars Outlaws, they had another look at that, of course. And apparently, the creative director has said that Star Wars Outlaws can be finished in 30 hours.
I like it.
Yes. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially since now I'm playing 2 RPGs at the same time at the moment, and I think they'll be longer than 30 hours. So, yeah, it'll be good to have a good game less than 30 hours. I'm fine with that. I don't see this as a bad thing. I don't see this as a bad thing.
No, make a sub 30-hour games normal.
Normalize shorter video games. Yeah. Yes, please. That'd be very good. All right, so the PS5 got a software update that adds a bunch of features, but maybe one of the most important features is they're adding to their Discord compatibility. Pretty soon here, you'll be able to join Discord voice chats in servers that you are a member of, and like friend calls directly from your console.
That's pretty cool.
Which is very cool. Currently, you have to do it either from the PC client or your mobile app. You can join from there. So this will add that. That's a great feature. 2 things that I miss on PS5 from the Xbox integration on Discord. First of all, on Xbox, you can turn this thing on where it will tell you like the screen name of the person who's talking in Discord, and you can have this on for gamer tags as well. I really like that.
Yeah.
feature. That can be good. It also tells you if your microphone is active, because if I have like a fan on or something like blowing into my
Oh
microphone,
yeah, because it'll light up.
it'll light up. It'll
Yeah.
tell you, hey, you're talking, and it doesn't do that on PS5. So that's kind of a bummer. The other thing is streaming your gameplay directly from the console. So you can do that on Xbox. Can't do that on PS5 yet.
Although I have to say, like the few times that I've done that or seen that on the Xbox, it hasn't been great quality.
Yeah, that is true too.
I'd like to see that change, but
Yeah, better Discord integrations all around would be
Yeah.
good.
But it is cool to have that. I mean, I know like something that I would definitely end up using that for would probably be our Gran Turismo league.
Yeah,
because we're all on our Discord server anyway. So why not just use that?
And I use that for Sea of Thieves. I use Discord for Sea of Thieves quite a lot. And actually on PS5, you can still hear in-game chat from the PS5 version if you're on a Discord call, whereas on Xbox, you cannot hear in-game chat if you're on a Discord call. So, fun stuff. I know everybody out there cares about that. Speaking of Sea of Thieves, by the way, slow news week means I get to chat about Sea of Thieves. It was the top selling, most downloaded game in May in both the US, North American market, and Europe on PlayStation 5. That's pretty big. That's pretty big, right?
That's pretty big.
A popular Microsoft game becoming the most downloaded. That's excellent. Anyway, very happy about that. I know about two people listening to this are also happy about that.
I got nothing for you here.
Got nothing. Okay, well, it's a slow news week. Hopefully there'll be that Nintendo Direct this week. And let's talk about what we've been playing. Greg?
Okay.
Why don't we just get into it?
Well, the big thing that I played this week was there was a 6-hour race at Watkins Glen on iRacing. That team event that a few of our Player One Podcast Discord members took part in. But I was recruited onto a team with hacker alias a Wanster. He put together a team. I'd done this one time before years ago with another crew as well, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, like the way it works, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a 6-hour long race.
A 6-hour long race? Was it at least on a weekend?
Yeah, it was on Saturday. Well, there were multiple servers and stuff like that, but the one we took part in was on Saturday morning.
Okay.
And it's a team event. So the way it works is like you register as a team, and then like anytime you make a pit stop, you can take over driving, basically.
Oh, all right.
So yeah, so it was actually streamed. We should put the link to Wanster's Twitch channel, or actually his YouTube channel. I think he's uploading it on YouTube right now.
Okay.
But yeah, so we ran 6 hours. Me, Wanster, another GT7 Player One member named Mac, and then a friend of his named Jared, who would never raced before. He joined our team as well. So yeah, between the four of us, we did 6 hours at Watkins Glen. I ended up doing a 1-hour stint that was completely in the rain, which was terrifying. It was really difficult. But I had done a bit of practice before that, because rain is a relatively, like, wet weather is relatively new in iRacing, as far as I know, new enough that I'd never experienced it yet. And so I'd done a little bit of practice in the rain, and I sucked. Like, I just, every 3 or 4 laps I would wreck. And of course, you know, this is a simulator, so if you wreck the car like beyond repair, you're done. So, you know, going into like the 5th hour of the race, all the hard work that Mac and that they'd all done ahead of me is just like, oh God, please don't let me be the one to wreck the car and ruin everyone's race, because they'd done a great job. I think there were over 40 entries, And I mean, I personally just wanted to finish the race, but I think we were aiming to finish in like the top half was our goal. And when I took the car over, we were running top 10, which was amazing. Like, I don't think any of the four of us expected to be running that high. So it's just like, yeah, if I take this thing during the rain and I run it off the track, we're going to end up losing terribly. But I didn't. I managed to run the whole stint. I had one small spin, but no damage, which was great. And then I managed to hold the thing together for like an hour. And we actually gained a couple of positions during my stint. So it was fantastic. Now, we ruined it by sending Wanster back out for what was supposed to be the final stint on dry tires when it was still wet on the track, because a few of us had misread one of the indicators. There was an indicator like to tell you how wet the track is, but also like how much precipitation there is. And we had mistaken the precipitation indicator as how wet the track was. So the precipitation, it had stopped raining, but the track was still quite wet. So we put slick tires on the car and sent Wanster back out, and he did an amazing job holding on to it for a few laps, but he eventually succumbed to the wet track and had a decent wreck. But that being said, we still ended up recovering to like 15th place, I think is where we finished. So it was awesome. I had a great time. I wouldn't do that every weekend, but it was really fun to sort of build up to it. And you know, I mean, iRacing is a lot of fun anyway, but I really like the team racing stuff just because you're part of a team and you're playing together, and like, whoever wasn't driving, normally one or two of us would be there spotting and giving information to the driver and everything. And it was just a cool way to spend a morning. So
that's cool.
Yeah, really enjoyed it a lot. So I think we're gonna try to do another team race in a couple months, maybe July or August. We'll see how that goes.
July is next month.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said August after that.
A couple months.
Anyway, yeah, so that was the main thing. I played some more Paper Mario, but I didn't get much further. I haven't finished the chapter that we were talking about last week, although I did get my third companion. I forget her name.
Miss Flurry.
That's it.
What it is, Flurry?
Yeah, so I got her and I've been working my way through that a little bit, but I didn't get to play very much of it. I know
I'm on chapter 4.
Look at you.
I know.
Aren't you special? I think I just entered the tree. That's what I'm doing right now.
All right.
So right after you get Flurry. And then I played a couple of demos that you pointed me towards.
Yes.
So one of these games, they were Steam demos. One of these games is called Aero GPX, which is basically fan-made homage, I would say, to F-Zero X. I don't know if that's how they describe it, but it's close enough that you almost have to go like, wow, okay. Like, would Nintendo have anything to say about this? Because I mean, the format is so similar. So it's a like zero grav racing game, where you're on like raised tracks and there's like purple recharge zones, and I mean, it's F-Zero. It looks like F-Zero X. It looks like a modernized F-Zero X, which I'm not complaining about. It's fun. But I think the demo, the frame rate is good. The control is good. The graphics are fine. The music is really loud, and I don't even know how to describe it. It's techno or dubstep, maybe a mixture. I don't know enough about musical genres to tell you, but it felt early for a demo. It doesn't feel like a very polished demo, which, you know, who knows why? Maybe that's a normal thing now. I don't know, but
I think that is a normal thing.
Yeah,
normal.
So, you know, it was okay. I don't know that I'm going to be wish listing it or anything like that, but I did enjoy the little bit that I played of it.
Okay.
But there was another one that I played called Old School Rally. I played this demo. I really like this. This feels like they're definitely trying to recreate basically Sega Rally. And it's one of those indie. Is it an indie game? I guess it's an indie game.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. But we talked about this a while back, where it's like, you know, we've had indie games for a while that are done in like the 8-bit style or the 16-bit style. And I know that Phil loves it when we say stuff like that, because it's, you know, yes, technically they're sprites, but they look way more advanced than anything we saw on an 8 or 16-bit console
Yeah.
back in the 80s and 90s. And anyway, it seems like the shift has been going into like sort of the late 90s PlayStation era 3D, and that's what this looks like. But it's got a nice look to it. It's the same thing. It's like you would never ever mistake it for a PlayStation or a Saturn game, but it's definitely done in that style.
It's channeling that aesthetic.
Yeah, like the cars are higher polygon than you would have ever seen then, but the textures are kind of a little bit of a low poly look to them. And like the other thing I was noticing is on the side of the tracks, like you had individual trees and trackside objects and stuff, but then there's like a wall of texture mapped forest, right? That you can't hit. If you go anywhere near it, the screen goes black and you get reset. But it's just like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like it has a really nice look to it, and it looks old school in like a really charming way, but it doesn't look broken or textures aren't warping everywhere and stuff like that. Like it's again, you'd never mistake it for being a Saturn or PlayStation game, but it's definitely, like you say, channeling the look, and it's a very charming look. I really like it a lot. I'm curious. I am going to wish list this, and I do want to watch it. I'm curious to see where it goes because it controls, like I said, it controls a lot like Sega Rally in my mind. I think that's what they're going for, but I don't really know if that's the case.
Yeah.
The 3 cars that they have are very clearly licensed vehicles. Yeah, like it's I think one's a Mitsubishi Lancer, one's a Subaru WRX with like classic rally liveries on them, like ones that anyone who is familiar with rally cars like would be able to pick it out immediately. Like one's got the blue, the Subaru's got the blue livery with the yellow swoosh, and I think it's a 555 livery. And then the Mitsubishi, I think it's a Marlboro livery. I think that's right. And then I forget what the final car is. I think it might be an Alpine. I can't remember. But anyway, like they're named something different. Like the WRX is named a Taurus something or other, but it's clearly a Subaru. Like it's not, the model hasn't been changed enough to make it not that car. So I'm curious to see if that survives when the game is done. And there's no music, but they had three stages. Yeah, no, not that anyway, maybe there's an option I didn't turn it on, but there's 3 stages. Ran really nicely on the Steam Deck. That's where I played it. And feels good. It's definitely evoking, that again, that Sega Rally feeling that I love. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. I'd like to see like some more roadside objects. The control feels really good right now, though. The visuals look fine. Like it's a nice looking game. So I'm excited to play it again when it's done.
Cool.
But yeah, that was quick, but that's basically what I've been playing. I've been super busy with kids stuff all week, but yeah, that's what I was playing.
So what you're saying is it's going to be a short show.
It is.
All right. Well, yeah, I had suggested those to you because it was Steam Next Fest started last week. And if you're unfamiliar with this, it's a week-long event on Steam where everybody drops demos for their upcoming games. And the way Steam kind of couches this is that it's games coming in the next 3 to 4 months. So,
okay.
And if you participate in a Next Fest, I believe you can't do it again. So they're really trying to make it so that, yes, this is like what you're going to play on the platform next, right?
Right.
So I don't know if those games that you were saying looked early and there was no music. It may have been that they participated early. They kind of blew their wad and they got in Next Fest this time and they won't be able to next time. Or maybe they didn't read the rules of it. Who knows?
Yeah, or I mean, it could have been that I wasn't looking at the options screen and music's just automatically turned off, or it could be that music is something that they add last, and
could be. You remember that game from the Burnout developers that didn't have music that they
they used the Spotify playlist.
They used Spotify instead.
I thought that was brilliant.
It was, but I only played that game like twice.
I got over that game fast. But
Yeah. But yeah, so I also was downloading a lot of demos during Steam Next Fest just because a lot of these come out during this past week and then they go away tomorrow when Next Fest ends. So if it's a
Okay.
game that you're really looking forward to or a game that you've added to your watch list and there's a demo only for 1 week during Steam Next Fest, it's important to like get on that and play these. So that's what I did this week and this weekend. So played a bunch of those. First of all, I want to mention Akimbot. So this is from the developers of Pumpkin Jack, which is a platformer, and this one is channeling Ratchet and Clank.
Oh,
Yeah, very much so. In the melee combat and weapon department, and you have a sort of buddy bot with you. I can't remember. The main character is called Exe, EXE, and so your little companion robot keeps calling you Exe. And this is good. It's a good 3D platformer. It feels good, looks good. The weapons are good. It has that sort of thing that sometimes dooms 3D platformers in my eyes just a little bit, in that the levels are too long with nothing happening.
oh yeah.
Like Ratchet and Clank is a very like tight 3D platformer. There's something happening pretty much every 5 feet.
That's something that you can kind of tell when not that every small team doesn't do this well, but like you can tell when you've got a big team with a big budget.
Yeah.
That you've got people whose like sole job it was to, keep that experience flow exciting from start to finish. And because putting that stuff together, putting encounters together, especially in a big 3D world, I can speak from experience, man, that's tough. That is tough to do.
Absolutely.
And it's tough to keep it exciting constantly.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was like an intro level, so maybe that was part of it, but it was fairly lifeless for a lot of the time that I was playing it. But it's got some cool ideas in there. The guns are cool, and there was like a final boss that I didn't end up beating, but it felt like a sort of Ratchet style boss. Good stuff. So this is staying on my watch list. I hope not every level is overly long with a lot of traversal and kind of nothing happening.
Right.
But we'll see. I'm excited about this one anyway. Then I also played Arranger. So this, you might remember, is Nick Sutner's game, or he's working on it with the artist from Braid.
Okay.
And this has been in a couple shows now, I think. But the idea is that it's an RPG, a puzzle-solving RPG, where everything's tile-based, and you, as the player, can, when you move left, right, up, or down, it moves the entire section of tiles up or left or right. Up, down, left, and right. So if there's an item 2 squares ahead of you, and you move to the right, it moves with you. It moves.
Okay.
It's going to stay 2 squares to the right each time. It just moves like a conveyor belt all the way down. And when you reach the end, you can loop around to the beginning of it. So the puzzles involve pushing various items and like getting a sword item to vanquish an enemy that will reveal a new path. It's very sort of path-based puzzle solving. Looks very cool. Music's really good. The art is great in this very gorgeous sort of hand-drawn art. And I'm still looking forward to this. I finished the demo and I'm like, yes, all right. I want more of this. I'm ready to play this when it comes out. And I think it's out in August. So very, very soon here for this one. Happy about that.
Can't believe it's almost August.
I know. Then I also played Parcel Core. So Parcel Core is basically Crazy Taxi, but you are a bike messenger.
So Courier Crisis.
I guess so. It's very much like stylistically, it has the bright colors and the cel shaded look of sort of older Sega arcade games, and
Mhm.
it has
Keep
the feel
talking.
of that too. Like the bikes that you use to deliver stuff. You can wall ride just like in like a Jet Set Radio sort of situation. You can do some pretty crazy jumps. You can jump on top of cars and like bounce off of them and do grinds on rails on your bike. Like it really is sort of a mixture of Crazy Taxi and a Jet Set Radio feature type game.
All right.
Yeah. And it plays super well, controls really well. I'm very excited about this one. And I think it's coming to everything. I think I have it wish listed on PlayStation currently. But I played the demo on Steam because there's no demo on PlayStation. Yeah. Very excited about that one. Parcel Core is the name of that one. And then I also played The Alters. So this is 11-Bit Studios who did this War of Mine. I never played
Oh yeah,
that
this
game.
War of Mine. Yep. I can't remember if I played that or not, but I've had it sitting. I know I've had it sitting on my backlog for a long time. I can't remember if I played any of it.
It's a PlayStation Plus game
Yeah.
too. But The Alters is this game where you are part of this planet exploration team and your ship goes down. Everybody dies except for you. And
Is that always the way?
and then you get back to your ship and realize that there are elements on this planet that can be used to copy yourself. So you're the only person on the ship initially, and then you use this quantum computer that's on your ship and this element you find on the planet to basically clone yourself. But how it's done is you have to pick a moment in time in your life where things branch. Okay. So like the first one that you do, it is kicking your abusive father out of the house. That's the branch point. And you as the player did not kick your father out. So you went down one path, and then kicking your father out led to all of these different things happening in your alternate life where that version of you became a technician. So then when you clone that person, you appear on the ship as that alternate version of yourself. You look a little bit different, like different haircut, different facial hair.
Okay.
But it's essentially you that made a different decision in your life to go down a different road. So it's a really interesting angle on things to have this sort of narrative happening in an exploration and base building game. There is a like light base building sort of thing in this game.
Okay.
Which I think is similar to this War of Mine. I think that has that element as well. But basically you have this circular base station and you choose different rooms to be built inside of it. So it's kind of like a Fallout shelter type thing where you're building certain rooms, kitchens, and workshops and things like that. And you get to pick where they are located in the ship. And you can redesign it any way you want as well. But man, I really liked what I played. It looks beautiful. The exploration is pretty neat. There is a lot of walking around on the planet, but oddly enough, like you can run, and you really run fast in this game. And there's no stamina, so you can just like truck it around the planet everywhere. As long as it's within the hours that you are supposed to be awake and working. It has like a 24-hour clock, so when it gets too late, you get tired and you start running slower, and then your mind starts fogging up as soon as it like gets really, really late. So that only happened to me once during the demo, but pretty good. The Alters, yeah, that was on the cover of an issue of Edge recently, and I thought the earlier trailers looked really interesting. It was at the Game Awards last year.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
finally got to play it, and I'm very excited about it. It looks great, plays great. I'm ready for that one. All right. Also played Thank Goodness You're Here.
Never heard of this.
This is a it's called a slapformer is what the genre is on that, like a slapstick platformer is what they're going for.
Okay.
It is a very cartoony game with very like thick lines around everything. And I forget what like your boss yells at you for something and then you have to go I think you have to go like sell something to somebody. Anyway, that doesn't matter because that doesn't happen in the demo. What does happen in the demo is that you free somebody. Somebody has their hand stuck down a storm drain to try to
Oh, yeah.
get two pence. They're trying to get a tuppence out of the storm
Man,
drain.
if I had 2 pence for every time that had happened.
So they have their hands stuck, their arms stuck in a storm drain, and you have to find some way to get them out. And it involves a locksmith and delivering beer to a pub when the barrels are like broken downstairs. And then you have to go to this butter store to use the butter to lubricate this person's arm enough so that they like, pull it out of the storm drain.
Okay.
But anyway, it's very British. The humor is very.
It's weird because your description didn't sound very British at all.
The humor is very British, and it's a very like visually interesting looking game. It's very cartoony, and it looks like a Flash cartoon, really. But you're playing it,
Okay.
and some of the scenes will be like. You go to this park and you run into this gardener who asks you to mow the lawn. So you do that, and then it switches to this perspective where there's two flowers just saying "I love you" back and forth as you're mowing the lawn back and forth in the background at first. Each time you go by, you get closer to them.
Yeah.
And of course, you run one of them over with the lawnmower and they die horrifically.
Sounds awful.
I know. Yeah, but that's sort of the tone in this game. It's very unique. And it's being published by Panic that did the Untitled Goose Game. And they do a lot of, and they're also the people behind the Playdate. And they just kind of have a weird sense of humor, and this one, looks very interesting and is genuinely funny.
Okay.
Too. Yeah, worth looking at or looking up. And then I played Flock.
Wasn't this a PlayStation game back in like 2000?
What I believe you're talking about is Hohokum.
I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Remember some kind of sheep game.
Oh no, that's different. You mean the PS1 game that was called Flock? No, this is different.
Oh, so I was right when I said, wasn't this a PlayStation game back in like 2000? The answer was yes.
The answer was yes.
You mispronounced
it's different,
but
the title, yes, completely different game type. Flock was a Capcom game, as Mike is saying in the chat, where you had to like get sheep. You had to herd sheep, right?
I just want to say I think I deserve props for remembering that there was a game called Flock. Because I know neither of us played it.
I played it. I reviewed it.
You didn't. Oh, so you played it for 5 minutes then?
No, I actually did play it.
What was the back of the box like?
I don't remember the back of the box. I know it didn't have a quote from me on it. No, I thought that was a really fun game.
I wouldn't know. I never played it.
Well, anyway, this one's pretty fun too. It's from the developers that did Hohokum for PlayStation. I think that may have come out on other platforms too. But the basic idea here in Flock is that you are a person who rides around on a bird and identifies various species on an island. It's actually very chill, and you don't even have to control you control where the bird goes, but you don't have to control the up and down movement. Like you'll never accidentally hit the ground, which is kind of nice. But yeah, you identify different animals that are in the environment, kind of like a Pokedex sort of thing happening. But you'll observe an animal, and then it'll tell you what family that animal is from, but then you have to identify, based on observing it, exactly what type it is. So it'll bring up a list of like 6 to 8 different like entries that it could possibly be, along with like what the behavior of that animal is, and then you have to choose the right one. Yeah.
All right.
From that. So pretty cool, pretty chill sort of game. And I'm looking forward to that. That comes out next month. So
what are you going to do with all these games this year?
I don't freaking know. There's too many. And these are the games that we
like
know
a good
about.
EGM cover.
I mean, how many years has it been where it's been a too many games situation? I mean,
right? Every year since we first did that cover.
I know. Yeah.
No joke. Like, how many times did we talk about how that cover just applied like every month?
From that point on.
Yeah.
Right. Even more so now, because you have games that show up on Steam.
Yeah.
And the different platforms that you were just never expecting would be amazing, that you need to play. And yeah, happens all the time. So yeah, those are the demos that I played during Steam Next Fest. Played some of those on the Steam Deck. By the way, there's a G.I. Joe side-scrolling platform, or not side-scrolling platform, side-scrolling brawler up on Steam Next Fest as well. That is in that same Hasbro Retro Arcade lineup.
So
there was the Power Rangers game that we heard about during Summer Games Fest, but then also there's a old school G.I. Joe cartoon side-scrolling brawler as well. And that's up on Steam Next Fest. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
I mean, I'm not against it, you know? It's
no.
Great. Bring some of these old licenses back. Why not? I'm not necessarily interested in all of them, but
G.I. Joe and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not? All right. Aside from that, I've been playing Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door. I am definitely further than I've ever played in Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door at this point. Chapter 4. Yeah.
I'm surprised that's not where you started originally. Just jump ahead somehow.
Right. I know. Yeah.
I mentioned, and this was before the chapter I'm in, right? Chapter 3. But I'd forgotten so much about that game. But I love the writing so much.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but for as much as I loved that game, like I don't remember sort of beat to beat. I don't remember a lot of it. But one of the things that I absolutely love is that I'd forgotten that Luigi is on like a parallel quest.
Yeah.
Where it's literally just the same quest, but with different names.
Oh, is that what that is?
I think that's what it is. But
have not noticed.
Either way, I love, because I've only seen this once, and I know you've seen it at least once. I don't know if I think you have to talk to him. When you meet him
at least 3 times, yeah,
back in town, and he starts describing the quest, and it just goes on and on, and Mario actually falls asleep during the discussion. I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. Anyway, sorry. Just sort of jumped into my head.
Yeah, in that part, I wasn't sure if there's going to be a quiz later on what Luigi has been up to, so I've been trying to pay attention, but I'm definitely not going to remember any of it.
It's so cute.
But it also, because it asks you if you want to hear the story, and then you go through this long thing, but then it puts like a green check mark next to the thing that you actually listened to. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I'm wondering, there's got to be something later,
maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
There's gotta be. Yeah. I just made it to the Glitz Pit. I finished up the Glitz Pit.
Yeah.
Which is the pro wrestling sort of gauntlet that you go through in that game.
Yeah, see, that
I don't know
was
if you
something
remember
else
that.
that I knew that was coming because I saw someone mention it on social media, but again, something I'd forgotten about.
Yeah.
You know.
I really enjoyed that section of the game. I thought it was going to be quite a slog because they tell you have to rank up, you have to go through the ranks of the tournament, and you start off at 20 and you have to get to number 1, and I was like, oh, this is just going to be a slog now. Like an uninteresting slog of battle and battle, like never-ending battles. But actually, they mix it up quite well, where after each battle, you go back to the dressing room, and they usually add some kind of new like side quest or thing that you need to do to progress the main story bit. So it's not as much of a slog as I thought it was going to be. And
Cool.
one thing that I don't think I realized before, and just because I hadn't played too much of this game prior to this, is how important buying items is and being stocked up on items all the time.
See, I'm so bad for that I'm
It's
still
important.
getting to the point where my inventory is always full.
Mine is as well, but occasionally I've gone in and stored some of the dupes that I have and swapped them out with more powerful alternates. Dupes, yeah. So yeah, that's been good. Yeah, and I finished the wrestling section. That was really fun. I have a new partner character. It's the Yoshi character that you get to name.
Don't remember that at all.
Anyway, so that's really fun. And I also this one has, the partner characters that you collect, they each have like some kind of special move that they do, and usually you've noticed areas that you can't get to yet,
Yeah,
where
that's a
their
big part of the
special
game.
ability will get you there. And I'm just like thinking of all these areas. All right, where do I need to go back to now that I have this partner character?
Yeah, that's always what I find is interesting, because not that I really don't pay very close attention to trophies and achievements and stuff anymore, but in these sorts of games, they can actually be really helpful.
Yeah,
for stuff like that, right?
That's
Where
true.
it's like, you need to find all the secrets in X area. It's like, oh well, I don't have that yet, so there's clearly a reason I need to go back there and do something. Whereas, yeah, like for stuff like this, it's more of a, well, I should just probably scour the entire map again and see if there's anything I missed. So
luckily, most of those things are pretty prominent in each area, and the areas are small enough that it's not going to feel like that much of a slog.
Well,
to
yeah, and when you
do
said
it.
that you were worried about the wrestling thing being a slog, that's so not Paper Mario, at least not that game.
Yeah,
I found, if I remember correctly, anyway, it's like it's a pretty straightforward, you don't have to do a lot of grinding. It's respects your time, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
but, yeah,
I think that's true. Well, and the little intercom system in the wrestling bit is a big old Game Boy Advance. All the way down to when you access it does the Game Boy Advance startup sound.
Nice.
Which is a nice touch. I don't know if you've gotten to this point where you can get some of the badges that add like the original GameCube music.
No, but I got the badge that, obviously, because you need it. You got the badge that turned all your attack sounds into frog sounds.
Yes,
for the dragon.
That's a really good one. Although now I have it turned off.
Oh yeah, I turned it off pretty quick.
Yeah, I have heard, and tell me if this is right or wrong, people either listening to this or you, Greg Seward, that each time you level up, you can pick whether you want HP, FP, or BP as the thing that you increase. And so far, I've been focusing. I did HP and FP maybe once or twice, and I've been now focusing on BP, the badge points, because at least one of the badges that I have now requires 6 badge points.
Wow.
To activate. And I was like, okay, if this is going to be sort of a thing that starts happening more and more, I need to keep an eye on that and increase my badge points.
I'm pretty. I go for a pretty balanced approach in situations like that. Although I might do like maybe 2 HP upgrades for every 1 FP and BP, and sort of keep going that way. Because I like having a lot of hit points, obviously, but yeah, I don't. I try not to ignore the other two too much.
See, right now I'm playing. My Mario still only has 15 HP.
Crazy.
Yeah, I go and I was talking about, the game really wants you to have a lot of items on hand. I got to a point where I was beating the boss of the wrestling section, and I lost that match and reloaded a save and was like, okay, well, I didn't have enough items. I'll go and buy some items. But unfortunately, at the point where you're ready to fight that boss, there are security guards blocking all of the doors so you can't get into any shop. So I was like, oh, crap, I'm screwed. Okay. Have I soft locked myself now out of this? Like, how am I going to do this? With only 15 hit points on Mario as well. Like, so what I ended up doing is picking Flurry as my partner and going into the ring. And what happened, I think this was part of this because the battles happen on a stage and things drop from the top of the screen onto you or sometimes your enemies and impact them. And one of the things that happened was the boss got frozen right away. Because something dropped on them. And
so was that luck?
That had to have been luck, because this was like the pivotal point. If that had not happened, I don't think I would be in chapter 4 at this point. Like, I would be screwed. Like, this happened, so there were basically like 3 or so turns where I just had free hits on this boss, and the boss had 60 hit points. So it was like a pretty major battle, and I definitely would not have won if not for that random element occurring. It was great. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, indeed. And then I have been playing Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth.
I can't chat with you about that game.
Yeah. So I'm now in chapter 2. I have landed in Hawaii, which is where the rest of the game takes place, I hear.
Okay.
So I'm out of Ijincho in Yokohama and on to Hawaii. And yeah, the game's great already, but like a lot of the little quality of life things have been really good, like being able to select a location on the mini map, and instead of having to go find a taxi to take you there to fast travel, it just lets you pay the fare right there and go to the place. You don't have to like run to a taxi.
Well, you're at an airport.
What's that?
Aren't you in an airport? Is that what you said?
No.
Oh, sorry.
This was in the first part of the game, so I was still in Ijincho, which is the place where Yakuza 7 takes place.
Okay.
And one of the things they have a system of fast travel where you have to take a taxi, but you have to actually walk to the taxi first. Now you don't have to walk to the taxi. You can just, pay the fare.
Because you're in an airport.
You're in Hawaii.
How'd you get there?
Well, there was a cutscene. A cutscene of a plane.
Going... Where'd the plane land?
I don't know.
Probably an airport.
Probably an airport. Yes. And I took a taxi from the airport, and now I'm in Waikiki or wherever, Honolulu. Yeah. Anyway, I'm having a lot of fun with Infinite Wealth. It's a great game. I switched to Japanese language. I don't know if I said that on the show, but I played through Yakuza 7 in English, and then I thought, well, for Infinite Wealth, since it takes place in America, I'll switch to Japanese language, which I did. And it's interesting how they denote what's in English and what's not. So they put brackets around what's supposed to be in a foreign language that you can't understand, that you don't really understand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So kind of interesting. But I'm having a lot of fun with the game. You should play it because it's a
I know I
great
should.
a great time.
I mean, I loved Kiwami. I just
Yeah.
the Yakuza series now is a daunting hill to climb. Because I really and I realize that I don't need to do this, but I really would like to play them all.
Yeah, you don't need to do
that's
that.
a lot of game,
You
man.
don't need to do that.
I know I don't. I just
I'm going to go as far to say you shouldn't do that.
really.
Yeah. I think you would really, really enjoy Like a Dragon, Yakuza 7, and Infinite Wealth a lot without having to go through the rest of
The previous
series.
6.
Yeah, no. I especially love the turn-based combat in this new series.
Yeah, and I got a bit of that because Scoop Joey was streaming Like a Dragon, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's on Game Pass. That's on Game Pass.
And I watched him play that for a while, and it looked awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, not even from the slapsticky side of it, which I mean, that was one of the best parts, obviously, but like the battle system looked really good.
It is.
So, yeah.
It really is. And it's easy to drop in and drop out of it. And if you play it on Xbox, it's one of those quick resume games where you can just hop right back into it. It's real nice. Yeah.
There was another
Highly
game that I
suggested.
had, by the way, that I forgot to talk about.
Oh, well then please talk about it now.
I guess it's not really a game, but it is a game. So I got I think probably the last thing I ever ordered from Limited Run. Not that I will never order something again, but I don't frequently order from them, and this was the last one that I did. Anyway, it showed up this week, and that is Night Trap for the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance.
That is amazing.
So this was something that, this was something that they sold. I think it was just around Halloween. I think it was October last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole idea was a Halloween theme. It might have been 2 years ago. Who knows with Limited Run? But anyway, yeah, I'd ordered it, and it showed up this week, which is, I was thinking, it's too bad because again, there's like a whole Halloween theme here. But of course, their business model, they couldn't just make these and then sell them at Halloween because it wouldn't really work, right? But anyway, it's it's kind of funny to get it as we're heading into summer, this sort of Halloween themed game. But what this is, if you haven't figured it out already, do you remember? Anyone who had a Game Boy Advance might remember this, especially if you're a Pokemon fan. But there was a series of cartridges for the Game Boy Advance that were video. They were just video cartridges. They weren't games. They were just, and I know that one of this series was a series of Pokemon episodes. But there were other things too. It wasn't just Pokemon. So that's what this is. This is not all of the video from Night Trap, but pretty much all the cutscenes. It's the story.
Oh, so it's not a game?
No, you don't play it.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I haven't even figured out how to get out of a video when it's playing. And go back to the main menu. But like when you turn it on, you literally just get a menu with, I think, 5 parts. And then you can play, and it's the story. It's like they took all the story scenes and they edited them together as one linear video, and it's just all in this little red Night Trap Game Boy Advance cartridge.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Which it's such slow quality that it kind of looks like the Sega CD version. But yeah,
it's great.
Anyway, that showed up this week.
It's like what it would be if there was a Super Nintendo CD-ROM. And, yeah.
But a much lower resolution. But anyway, yeah, it did show up this week. So it's kind of, I watched a little bit of it. I'm not going to sit and watch the whole thing on my Game Boy, but
they released Night Trap on PS5 pretty recently.
Yeah, it's Screaming Villains.
4K, Screaming Villains.
I have the PS4 version.
I do too.
Those are the ones I still buy physical from Limited Run, because
Yeah.
Screaming Villains is the company that's been sort of re-releasing those remasters.
Yeah.
So I have that, and I think they did Double Switch as well, and Corpse Killer. I'm dying for them to do Sewer Shark. I'd love to see them do Tomcat Alley and
yes,
and other, I forget what the other ones is. Sewer Shark and Tomcat Alley, anyway, the main ones. But
yeah,
a lot of those were released. Like there was a Sega studio that did a lot of that stuff too. It wasn't all digital pictures, and some of that stuff Sony owns the rights to, as far as I know. Like I think Sony still owns Sewer Shark.
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm not sure if or how that's ever going to happen. But yeah. Anyway, they released that as like it's sort of a joke Halloween thing, and it's like, I'm gonna buy this because it's Night Trap and it's cool to have it on a, have a nice Game Boy Advance box and have it on the shelf. And
yeah,
they even did like a Limited Run Games video logo, which I think is pretty similar to the one that I think it was THQ that was releasing those on the
I think you're
Game Boy
right.
Advance.
Yeah.
I know I have one around here somewhere.
That's great.
But,
didn't they do SpongeBob and Shrek or something like that?
In fact, I think the SpongeBob one is the one I have, or one of the SpongeBob ones are the one I have. I don't even know how I got a hold of it.
Pokemon ones too, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was when our kids were really young, a friend who had some old Game Boy stuff. They just sort of gave it to us, and that was in the box.
Oh,
so anyway, yeah,
excellent. So you haven't really been playing that, but
no,
you've been watching
it on my Analog Pocket. So
excellent.
Oh, and apparently Micah in the chat saying that the Screaming Villains guy has said he wants to do Sewer Shark. Well, clearly a man of taste.
There's a difference between wanting to do it.
I know. But at least the desire is there. So,
the desire is there.
Hey, you got one sale here, maybe two, just so you know. Depends on if CJ lets me use show funds.
To buy Sewer Shark?
Why not?
I think we all would get Sewer Sharks.
Yeah, we
Sewer
would.
Sharks for everybody at that point. Alrighty, well, I guess I should probably bring up the tweet music, right?
Yes.
Since we're pretty much done with what you've been playing. Yes, we're done with what you've been playing, and now we hold on a second.
Come on.
I know. It's not gonna. Oh no, it's not. It's been it's been too long.
I don't understand. Most digital files don't just rot like that.
Can you hear this? No?
Is this silence?
No.
Then no, I can't hear
it. Okay. Well then we'll just go right into tweets.
Okay. Tweedly deedly dee. Tweedly deedly.
Excuse me, I had to sneeze.
Tweet. There.
Thank you, Greg, for doing that. Yes, tweets. I'm sorry. Yeah. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Marky Mark 2. Has CJ watched Killer Clowns yet? Because I was playing the video game Killer Clowns from Outer Space, but had not watched the movie. I still have not watched the movie.
Come on.
But I have rented it from iTunes.
So okay.
I have 30 days to watch it.
You rent things from iTunes that you don't just watch immediately?
Yeah.
What?
Well, I rented it thinking that I would watch it because I was on a couple flights this past week. And I thought, I'll watch it on a flight.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense, I guess.
And then I was seated next to some youngsters, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't watch the Killer Clowns movie.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they look interesting. I'm going to talk to them.
No.
But I thought you might have meant like 20-somethings when you said youngsters, because you're old. I didn't realize you were talking about children.
Old. No, yeah, kids. And I didn't want to watch the Killer Clowns movie on my iPad next to people
it's a free country, lady.
Freaked out by that. Yeah. So I haven't watched it yet, but I will. Soon. Maybe. All right, let's do this one from Hacker Alias Nato, who says, Happy Father's Day, dads. Which video game dad would you want for a father? I think obviously Pac-Man from Pac-Land and the Pac-Man animated series. Yeah.
Sure.
Just call me Pac-Man Jr.
I can't think of any video game dads.
Just say Joel from The Last of Us. No,
Joel from The Last of Us. Hey Hachi.
or Nathan Drake.
Oh, yeah, he's a dad, isn't he?
Yeah. Uncharted 4.
There you go. Yeah. Sure.
That's a better choice than Joel.
I'm going with that one.
Right? Yeah. That's a good one. All right. Hold on.
Chuck Rock.
Chuck Rock.
Yeah. You remember Chuck Rock 2, Son of Chuck?
I did just now remember that. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias, Benjamin Rivers.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. How much of your console gaming time in 2024 is split between TV and handheld?
I'm actually doing splitting a lot more than usual, but I'd still say it's probably like 80-20.
Yeah.
TV to handheld. Handheld is going up for me this year just because I'm trying to play more Steam games, and it's just way more convenient to play them on the Steam Deck. You know, I played through Heading Out that way, and I was playing those two demos, Aero GPX and Old School Rally. I played them both on Steam Deck as well, and you know, excuse me, firing up like Vampire Survivors or anything like that. So, but I have played a little bit of like Logic Grimoire. I play almost exclusively handheld because it's, I don't know, it just feels like that's how you're supposed to play Picross.
Yes.
It's just Picross on the big TV screen with a regular controller in your hands doesn't feel right at all to me. I don't know why. And played a little bit of Paper Mario on handheld, but I would rather play it on the big screen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think mine is closer to 60-40, maybe 65-35. Maybe 60-40. TV 60, handheld 40. And
You've always been more handheld though.
That's only
always,
really because of remote play.
Yeah,
I'm playing on the PlayStation Portal and or the Switch and enjoying that. And yeah, I am playing a lot more handheld, and I finished Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon basically because I could play it via remote play on the Xbox. So, and the same thing with Like a Dragon Gaiden. Like, I don't think I would have finished either of those games if I was just tied to a TV. I really need to have that portability where I'm playing in a different room of the house.
The big difference between you and me, I think, is that not always, but generally, if my kids are like home, I'm not playing games. I don't know why. It's just the way it's always been. I know that you play off screen a fair amount.
Yeah.
Because that way your wife and your daughter don't need to sit and watch what you're playing on the television.
Exactly. They can be watching Bridgerton and I'm playing Bridgerton. I'm playing Infinite Wealth.
But so for me, and I don't travel a lot for work anymore. So for me, what I find happens is if I start going handheld, I'm doing it right before bed, which is actually a terrible habit. That it does like end up messing with my sleep schedule like crazy. But that being said, but that being said, I do that, and especially if I'm playing an RPG, which I seem to be playing a lot more RPGs this year than usual. It's like, well, I'll just play for an hour when I go to bed, you know.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons that my handheld time is creeping up too. Although I'm trying to curb it because again, I don't sleep as well when I play video games right before I try to fall asleep. So because I'm old.
I guess so. I play a lot of like Picross.
Picross, I find actually isn't bad.
It can be pretty relaxing.
Yeah.
God, getting old.
Yeah,
sucks. All right, let's do this one from Hacker Alias Andrew Webb. who says, Happy Father's Day. Did your family get you anything gaming related for Father's Day? Mine let
Nope.
me play uninterrupted.
Nope.
Which I got to play all those Steam Next Fest demos today uninterrupted, in part because it's Father's Day.
Nope. I got a grooming kit, a set of oven mitts,
Oh, nice.
and various stuff like that. Yeah. Not that I didn't love it. And then I got to take my kid to baseball practice and lacrosse practice.
I got a certificate of achievement in the field of cooking chicken nuggets for my daughter. And then I got a pint glass that's super daddy-o.
Nice.
Yeah.
For all the beer.
For all the beer that I drink. I'm drinking milk in that usually with the Oreos. I use
Such a
pint glasses for milk. Yeah.
Like Homelander.
Like what?
You don't watch that show.
I don't watch that show. Okay. No. Sorry. Yeah. And I guess that's it. That's the show.
Okay. One more thing before we do the outro, though, I want to mention, because I just booked my room today.
Oh.
I am going to be at the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo in August 9th through 11th.
Nice.
In Garden City, New York, on a panel with G to the Next Level. I'm not sure exactly what the panel subject is going to be. It'll be Sega related.
Sega something.
Yeah, it'll be Sega related. But either way, yeah, Long Island Retro Gaming Expo, August 9th to 11th. Cradle of Aviation Museum in Garden City, New York. I'm going to be there as a panelist and just be at the show in general. So
cool.
If you're there and you're around, I'll be there.
That's awesome.
Come on down. Yeah.
Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1 Podcast on various social media platforms, but definitely X and Threads. Or if you prefer to go to our internet website, non-social media edition, you can go to player1podcast.com, and there you'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Seward. You'll find Generation 16 episodes as they happen. You'll find our contact information, and you'll find show notes and links to all the things that we talked about during this here episode, and a link to our Discord server where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
If you would like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by going to player1podcast.com or by going to Apple Podcasts. You can check us out on Stitcher. You can check it out.
Stitcher.
No, not Stitcher. What
Stitcher does not exist anymore.
What are we on?
We're on all the things.
All the things. X.
All the things. Spotify. Yeah. Google Podcasts isn't a thing anymore either. So Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, we're probably there. Yeah.
And if you like, you can watch us live each week on YouTube, on Twitch, on X, on Facebook.
Yeah.
Usually around what time? What
5:30 Pacific.
5:30 Pacific time.
Yeah.
As Phil would say.
Yeah.
Or 8:30 Eastern. For those of you who are curious, because Phil never includes the East Coast for some reason. We don't worry about the flyover states, though. Nobody does. What else does he normally say here? Anything else? I think that's it. And then we'll talk about giving us money. So listen.
Yes.
If you liked what you heard, and how could you? Please head on over to patreon.com/P1Podcast.
Yeah.
Where you can throw a few shekels our way. It helps keep the lights on. It helps pay for my trips to gaming expos, and buys us copies of Sewer Shark if they ever come out.
Yeah.
But no, it does go to really important stuff like paying for the software we use and keeping the services running and all that fun stuff. So please consider making a pledge donation. I was going to say, but no, please consider supporting the show. And if you support the show to the tune of $5 a month,
cheap.
oof, that was loud. You get access to the special after show where we play games, we crack jokes, do all the things we can't do on the regular show. CJ,
Yeah.
do we have a game this week?
Well, I should be asking you that, Greg. But we don't have a game this week.
Uh-oh.
What we're going to be doing is we are going to take a topic selected by a host and talk more about that. And I believe this week is your topic.
It is.
Greg, what are we talking about?
The year 2000.
We're going to be talking about the year 2000.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're talking about the year 2000. So join us, won't you? And hey, if you want a taste of what that's like, CJ
Taste
does.
of the year 2000?
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, that's how old the latest free version of the after show is. I was going to say, CJ does post weekly, 2 years old. After
100
show.
episodes old.
Yes.
Really, yeah.
So you can get a taste of what you'd be missing if you were a $5 supporter. But yeah, please consider supporting the show. It's always a good time. Those are, you know what? That stuff's honestly better than what you just listened to. What you just listened to is garbage. I think you know it. I know it. We all know it. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for your support.
Yeah.
CJ's over there like, don't tell them.
Gosh, jeez.
I'm not going to plug my own thing.
Generation
Patreon.com.
16. Yeah.
There you go.
Patreon.com/Greg Seward.
Greg Seward. There you go. That's plugged.
Yeah.
So please support me too. But more importantly, support Player One Podcast. CJ,
Yeah.
thank you for hosting this week.
Thank you for joining me, Greg.
Thank you. Phil, have a good trip.
Yep.
We miss
Hope
you.
you're doing well. We miss you. Yeah.
And we'll see you next week, Brosif. And thank you, dear listeners and viewers, for hanging out with us this week. We appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed what you listened to, and we hope to see you all again next week.
Bye-bye.